Are you wondering what is the spiritual meaning of Epiphany? Sophia Persephone here. I'm going to talk about the Epiphany during the spiritual awakening process. So you might be aware of the Christian meaning of this word. It denotes the day that the three kings visited the baby Jesus just after his birth, and it's a holiday, a celebration that comes in early January. But there is a modern, non-religious spiritual meaning of the word Epiphany, and we need to understand it because it's a stage of spiritual awakening that is very important. So the actual dictionary definition of an epiphany is a sudden realization. So we say, I had an epiphany, and we can say that about anything. You know, you realize something, the penny dropped, the light bulb went on. But as I say, we have this experience during spiritual awakening as well, and it's roughly the third stage of awakening. Spiritual awakening is not necessarily a linear process, so it can happen for different people at different times, but it happens during the first half of the awakening process. And it's the moment we realize that there's more to this world, to the universe, than just 3D reality. So everything we're taught in mainstream culture, certainly in the West, that this is what there is, it's all about matter, it's material. We've realized that's not the case. We realize that this is not the only dimension, and that everything is energy. Typically that's a realization that will come. So effectively what we're doing is we're having a spiritual epiphany or a spiritual awakening epiphany. And this can come very suddenly, or it can be a slow sort of dawning over time. And it can come in many ways. For myself, I had an incredible experience. I had a huge vision where I met my soul and we conversed, and my soul told me all this stuff that I hadn't really ever heard of before, because I was an atheist materialist, and I went off and researched it all, and I saw there's more to life than this, and that was really the start of my conscious awakening, and that's what the Epiphany does. It marks that moment that you sort of step into a more conscious process and you're aware. So you can have a vision. Some people have dreams. Some people might use psychedelic drugs, and they have an experience under the influence of a drug that really sort of opens their eyes up to the alternate realities. Or you could always have been interested, always had a belief, but there's just a moment when it all consolidates, a sort of light bulb moment when you go, hey, there's something going on here and I want to understand it. And that's your spiritual epiphany. So it's an important step in awakening, because really it's your springboard into a deeper awakening experience. Typically it either occurs during the fourth stage, so connection, which is this kind of really intense feeling of being linked to the universe, meeting our guides, having loads of communication, lots of stuff going on, otherworldly stuff going on. And the epiphany usually happens just before or during that stage. So it really is your springboard into a really exciting and engaging phase of awakening. So the thing to bear in mind, knowing that now, is that when people say, I've had a spiritual awakening, what they usually mean is they've had their epiphany, they've had their spiritual awakening epiphany, because actually spiritual awakening is a really long process, and it does take several years, and I know people who are 7 years in and they're still going, but there's this one sort of bit of it, the spiritual awakening epiphany and the connection phase that follows, that is particularly intense. And when people are talking about their spiritual awakening, usually they mean that part of it. That's because that's the bit where they've become conscious, but there's a lot more to go, and I'm going to talk about that in other videos. So if you have had your epiphany, congratulations, because you are on the spiritual awakening path, and it's a really exciting process, and I know you're going to love a lot of it, and there will be hard times too. But when you get to the end of the final stage, transcendence, you have all the power that you need at your fingertips to create the reality that you want for yourself here on earth. And that's an incredible thing.